Hello and welcome to the 3Ls podcast, Life, Likes and Landing Pages. My name is Gayle.
And I'm Kim. And in today's episode, we will introduce ourselves to you.
We will. And you'll have to excuse us because we are very, very awkward. This is the first time we've done something like this. And we're just winging it as we go. So.
Yeah. And I think we'll, I talk about myself, I'll always be a little awkward. So that's like, I don't think that's going to go away in the next few episodes anyway.
Stick with us, guys. This will get better, I promise you.
Yes.
I'll cut that bit out. Let's start again. No. Shall we start again?
All right. No, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
We're doing well.
All right. This is raw, guys. There's no editing in this. This is raw. All right, Kim, tell us a little bit about you.
All right. So I wrote a little bit because, I'm the copywriter in this outfit. So I am just going to run you through my life and how I got to where I am now. I've always liked stories. I don't know exactly when that began, but I remember I loved reading from a young age. Like I love being read to, and I very young had questions about like the reality of things. It sounds very like crazy, but like anyway, I got a lot of books from my parents. I have a lot of children's books still. But that all kind of changed when I was in high school. I don't know how it is anywhere else. I'm from the Netherlands, so maybe it's different in other countries' high schools, but we have to read for school. So you read a certain amount of books a year. And all of a sudden,
primary school, not necessarily much in secondary school though, unfortunately, from memory.
Really?
Anyway. Yeah, from memory. Like, I mean, it was a long time ago, but I can't remember there being books on the. Oh, actually, no, we did, but it was
like
just
with the book reports and stuff.
No, I can't remember doing book reports. I know that we read To Kill a Mockingbird, and I got told off frequently because I got really bored by listening to people that like reading it out loud and skipped ahead a lot. But yeah, but no, we didn't place too much.
Yeah, we had to do like multiple per year, and then if you choose a certain package to like graduate in, you'd also have to do it in English, French, and German, or German.
Wow.
So it was really tough, and I found out I was actually a very slow reader, which is not a bad thing per se, but if you have to write X amount of books a year, it puts a lot of pressure on you, I guess. Especially like I was like 12, so it puts a lot of pressure on you. So I started to resent reading, but I still loved writing. And there was nothing more. I wanted to be a war journalist. I wanted to go to Israel and put on paper what's happening there. And like that was my dream in high school. But because of they tested me and they found out that I had a mild form of dyslexia. And so basically all the people around me, my teachers, my parents, they said, why don't you do something that you're good at? So I chose social studies, which to be fair, I was really good at. I instantly got a job. I got grades, very good grades and everything. But there is something missing. I just wanted to write. And it's like, it's something in me for forever. And in that study, I was just not happy. So after a little break as an au pair in Ireland, I decided to put on my big girl pants, ignore everyone else, and just study journalism. Which, to be fair, it was difficult. It was very, very difficult. Did you
go into war journalism, or was it, what kind of journalism did you go into to start with?
So this was just a general, study. So it was just journalism, all of the journalism.
Oh, okay. No,
so
it wasn't like a specialism.
No. You could later on specialize in something. But during the course, I found out I wasn't really made for journalism itself. And I found it out in multiple ways. Like, first of all, I just didn't like making like the small little reports. Like you know, that you see in your local newspaper that we had to make. It was just, I got bored real quick. It was kind of interesting because I was struggling with the language, but at the same time I got bored with what I had to write. So that was kind of interesting. And I also got to interview this war journalist from the Netherlands, and we had this really great conversation about ethics and about like basically how it really is to be a war journalist, especially when you're embedded in with the army and everything. And yeah, I found out it wasn't really for me, and that got confirmed when in the second half of the second year, we were able to do more background stories. We could be more creative. We could, you know, we could go a bit more in depth in things. So that's why I decided to start a creative major and did an internship at a copywriting agency. And that's where the journey that I'm on right now started, basically.
Thank God, because you're actually
a
copywriting gone. So just for some context, Kim and we met at a co-working space, and I don't know, we just something clicked, right? And I actually ended up hiring Kim to do the copywriting for my own website for my business. And I've been in marketing. I'm just kind of taking over now for a second, Kim, but I've been in marketing for 15 years, right. And I've worked on many web projects, and that has included working with a lot of copywriters. And I've never had a copywriter send me copy for a website and I've not had to make any edits. That was like with you. I just went back like, I've been looking and looking, but there's nothing I would change. So yeah, so you're an absolute
that's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I found out I really love doing it, and I love the funny thing is with copywriting, and it's also with marketing, is you're not stuck to one topic. I feel like on social media we see a lot of like, oh, you need to choose a niche, you know, like specialize yourself in an industry. I think we'll talk about that in a later episode, but for me, my specialty is
writing.
Writing and like getting to know everything. I love doing research. I love getting into someone's head and then write something that really suits them. So that's kind of where it started. And right now I am a copywriter in both English and Dutch. So my mother tongue is Dutch. Interestingly enough, I struggle still more with Dutch than with English grammar wise. And yeah, I absolutely love doing this. So after the graduating journalism, I started doing all these like different jobs. I've been an account manager, project manager, product manager, all these like different things, and usually on kind of the edge between IT and marketing. And I just really like marketing, what it does, the messaging, everything like that. And when I was stuck in the Netherlands for a bit, so just a bit of a blip, in 2016 I decided to get the travel bug out of me and do a year in Australia. That's super cliche. I found a job, fell in love, and now I'm still here. Or here again, I should say. During COVID, I've been in the Netherlands, and that's why I started working really in marketing. I was able to set up a marketing department there, and I just love it. And I know you love this too, Gayle. Like the edge on, like you're always creative, but also thinking about, okay, but what's your strategy? What's to do and everything.
It's the perfect blend of creativity and analyzing constantly, which appeals to the two sides of my own personality, where there's a massive geek that loves getting into the data, but there's the really kind of like creative side that loves to kind of just have free reign over that as well. And
I do think marketing is like the perfect field for that. And what I've noticed lately is that I feel, we'll talk about this as well later on, but I'm falling a little bit out of love with like social media on a personal level and professional level, So I'm focusing more and more on copywriting, and that's just, yeah, that's what
And
I'm
your
doing today.
storytelling. Tell us about your storytelling, because you've actually got something really exciting happening at the moment, haven't you? Brag about it.
Yeah. Okay, brag. I'm not good at bragging, but I'm gonna try. So I haven't been writing creatively in a while, and I decided recently to enter a writing competition, which is New York City midnight writing competition, something like that. And it is 100-word microfiction. So you get on, well, my time zone on Saturday, 2 p.m., you get a genre, you get a action, and you have a word that you need to include in your story. And you have 24 hours to write that story of max 100 words. And
which, by the way, is incredibly hard to do. Like, if you say to someone,
yes,
give me this in 2,000 words, you'd be like, no sweat, I can do that. But to condense everything, an actual story, into 100 words is incredibly hard to do.
Yeah. Luckily with copywriting, we have that all the time as well. Because when you have, like, when you work with a design, you need to stick to a certain amount of words. So it is a very fun exercise, and I can recommend anyone doing it one time or another. It's really fun. And with the first round, I placed 12th in my group. So there were over 6,000 writers competing, and 1,500 advanced to the next round, and I'm one of those 1,500. So that's really exciting.
Were you 12 out of that 1,500, or just your group?
No, 12 out of my group. So right. That's there were 60 in my group.
Yeah, that's still phenomenal though.
Yeah, but still, I'm still very the cool thing is, last weekend I had the second round. I can't say too much about it yet because they want to keep it a little secret, so they can maybe later spread the stories. But I'm really, really excited what I wrote. It's a little dark. It's very me, and I'll keep you posted. Hopefully, well,
I read that for the people that are listening. I've read both of these stories, and instantly I've just been like, fuck, like, this is amazing. You've blown me, absolutely blown me away with the stories. They've been so good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I really like that's actually, like, copywriting is great and I really enjoy it, but creating like your own little world and your own little characters, there's nothing like it.
Well, you actually spent some time, was it in LA? You did some script writing course or something like that?
Yeah.
And how long were you there
for? So that's been in 2013. That's 10 years ago. Stop. That's like when that was like terrifying when I realized that. Yeah, 10 years ago, I did the screenwriting course at the New York Film Academy in LA.
Wow.
It was really cool. We were like studying like next to the Warner Brothers movie studios and stuff. It was really cool. And super cliche, obviously, copywriting in her free time. She's also writing a book. So a lot of writing is going on in this little office here near Noosa, Queensland, Australia.
Where you've recently left the concrete jungle for a little bit of a quieter, more chilled out lifestyle, haven't you? Yeah.
Literally, if we would have done this like 30 minutes ago, there were two like turkeys. I don't know what they were doing. They were fighting over my welcome mat or something. So, but yeah, they're gone now. So, so that's a little bit about me. With this podcast, I just want to share my knowledge and experience. And I think you and I, we have this like fun conversations about like random things, like
very
what
random.
Your stage name would be.
I think our biggest challenge is going to be staying on topic. So be prepared for tangents, a lot of tangents.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm quite similar to you in the way that, I was always really, really into writing as well. I was actually a published poet by the time before I was 10. So I used to do a lot of writing. I used to
where did it get published?
It was in an anthology. So it was a national, so I'm from the UK, for people listening who haven't guessed from my accent. It was a national poetry competition, and I just wrote this poem. I used to write poems and lyrics all the time, and my dad sent it in, and it got, I was one of the finalists, and it got published in an anthology. So I like, that's kind of like my big brag. I was published poet before I was 10, you know.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Early.
I didn't know that. That's really cool.
I peaked very early. But I was always writing lyrics. I was always writing poetry, stories. I also wanted to go into journalism at some point in my life. But I decided, similar to you, journalism wasn't for me, mainly because my perception of journalism is that it's really cutthroat, and you have to kind of sell your soul to the devil sometimes for some of those stories. And I had a few things when I was younger, a few unfortunate things that happened to people around me that did make national news, and the way that those stories were handled was kind of the final nail in the coffin for me, in that I could never shove a microphone in front of someone's face who's just gone through something really bad just to get a story and then spin it to get reads. It was like the pre-social media clickbait. That was my perception of journalism, you know? Kind of distorting stories and whatnot.
I think that's the interview with that war journalist, and I read a couple of books around the same time about journalism in Middle East specifically. I think that opened my eyes to that as well, and to the ethics around journalism that are, you know, sometimes hard to swallow, I guess.
There's been some really high profile things that have come out of UK journalism, especially when I was around that same time, that were some of the methods used to get the stories that they got were extremely unethical. And I just made the decision that is not, that's a massive you know, contrast on the other side of what my values are. It's the other side of where my values
fair enough.
So I could never do it. So I actually also looked at script writing because I loved drama. I did an English language and drama degree, and in my final year, instead of a dissertation, I actually chose script writing as my kind of final year project. But I, again, very early on, made the decision that I could never be a struggling artist. I just couldn't. I had bills to pay. I didn't have anyone, you know, supporting me. So it was kind of like, finish uni and get a real job. So
what did you do in uni then?
I did English language and drama and theatre studies. Bachelor's. And I loved it, absolutely loved it. But graduated, reality hit, and I went into sales and account management. Very different to what I was wanting to do. But I kind of found my stride.
Also ethically sometimes.
Well, no. Yes, I say that? Potentially, but not the way that I did it. And I think I was told very early in my career that I would never amount to anything because I had too much of a conscience. Yet I then ended up being one of the best salespeople they had on their team, to the extent where they would have to re-incentivize me with new targets halfway through the month because I'd already smashed the targets that they set me. And I did that by building relationships and nurturing relationships, which, as you will know, is an absolute staple for effective marketing. And I fell into marketing completely by mistake. I had not long taken a position at a like a startup IT company, and I went in as their business development manager, but I was kind of wearing every single hat apart from the actual IT installations. There was really poor management, poor leadership in that company, and it quickly became apparent that it wasn't actually going to go anywhere. So I started looking for other jobs. And locally, there was a marketing agency that was looking for account managers, and that was where I was at in my career at the time. So I kind of went and applied for the account management job there. Now, really awkward moment, the company that I worked for at the time, the IT company, then started saying, okay, I was saying, you know, we need to outsource some of our marketing because I can't do it all myself. And so we started looking at agencies, and we went for a meeting at this agency that I'd sent my resume to and applied for a job for.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Knocked on the door to say we were there for our meeting, and my name, obviously, it's Gayle, and the HR name, the woman's name, was Gayle. So they thought I was asking for her. She came to the door while I'm there with my boss at the time, like, "Oh, are you here about the?" I'm like, "No, we're here for an appointment. We've got a meeting."
Oh, that's hilarious.
I was heart racing, like, and then I ended up getting the job, which was amazing, and that was my into the marketing world.
So did you work for your old company at the new marketing agency? Like, did you do their marketing?
No, because they never ended up outsourcing it, and that company actually did not end. That company didn't really go anywhere, to be honest, because they just weren't.
All right.
Yeah, it was never really going to go anywhere because of poor leadership. So, but yeah, so that was my into marketing, and for the last 15 years, I've been making my way up the corporate ladder. I also I didn't get the travel bug as such, but I always knew, and we can talk about this at a later date, but I always knew that I was going to end up in Australia. I always knew that I wanted to live in Australia.
Hilarious.
I've been here now 10 years. I celebrated my 10-year anniversary this year.
That's great.
And never looked back. I class myself now.
What made you think that Australia was the place to be?
Home and away.
For me, it's McLeod's Daughters.
Sorry, guys. I grew up with Home and Away and Neighbours, and you just made it look so cool. But no, I think it started off with Home and Away, and then it's the accents and the beaches and all that kind of stuff, the way it was glamorized on TV. But then as I got older, and the UK was going through a recession and all of this kind of stuff, I had a cousin that lived here, and he came back to the UK for another cousin's wedding, and he was talking about how amazing his life was, and there's all these opportunities, and that sealed the deal for me. I'd just gone through my second redundancy in the UK. I was like, I'm not living, I'm existing right now, and I need to do something with my life because I'm not happy. So literally booked my ticket, a one-way ticket, and 6 months later I was here, and I have not looked back ever since. So I consider myself more Australian than I ever felt British, if I'm honest.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I definitely feel at home here.
And you have a milestone, right?
What's that?
Yesterday.
Oh yeah, so yesterday. Oh no, it's actually today. I think you're talking about what you're talking about. Today I am eligible to apply for my citizenship.
Yes.
Finally. So
oh my god,
I will be
for
doing
anyone
that
who's been in Australia as a foreigner, they know the struggles you've been through, the waiting forever for everything.
And I had a pretty horrific visa journey as well. So I've been here 10 years. I've only just become a permanent resident a year ago today. So I was waiting for permanent residency for 7 years, and it was a pretty rough journey. I faced deportation several times. At one point I was 5 days away from deportation, 3 days before Christmas. So it's been rough. But but yeah, and I got my permanent residency.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I got my permanent residency, and everything fell into place, because obviously when you're a migrant, before you've got that permanent residency status, there are certain things that you cannot do. You cannot set up your own business. You cannot, you have to pay. I had to pay to leave the country and pay to get back in if I wanted to go on holiday. Just little things like that. So last year my life changed a lot. I got my permanent residency. I left a very, very toxic job situation that was extremely bad for my mental health. I set up my own company and started building, my dream and my empire for myself, which is really exciting. And that's going relatively well, considering the stage that I'm at. It's still very new. I became a foster parent recently, so I'm now foster mommy to a beautiful little boy who turns 3 in a couple of weeks. And I volunteer now in the mental health space for teenagers. Just everything has kind of started to, every goal that I've had has started to transpire, which has been really good.
So what do you can you tell a little bit about the business that you do a little more?
So it's the digital marketing mentor. and I do done for you and done with you services. I tend to focus more, I'm pivoting at the moment more towards the coaching side of things. So I will walk alongside people while they implement strategies, implement business systems and processes to streamline their marketing, so that they don't have to spend as much time on it, and they're not scrambling to find something last minute. And it you know, putting systems in place that can help you create a steady stream of leads into your pipeline, so you're never really wondering where your next client is going to come from, and quality leads as well. And we'll talk about that down the line as well. But there's a difference between having 500 leads and having 300 absolutely ready to go leads. And that's what you want. People focus too much on the numbers, they don't focus enough on the quality. So that's what I want to help people get. I want to help people get the quality, not the quantity. So
I think it's also because they don't know how to see the quality in the numbers. They just see the numbers, and that's
and for a long time, numbers have been an indication of success. Even now, we're fighting you know, this whole mindset around, if you've got 100,000 followers, you must know what you're talking about, you know. And we do have episodes planned in the future to talk about that in a little bit more detail. But I am at war with vanity metrics. I am at war with them. They must be baddest.
That's good.
Oh yeah.
I do also think, like, in business in general, like, you can make a lot of money, you can make a lot of sales, but if you have like a huge like if you're spending like crazy, then you're still not growing. So it's numbers itself, you know, they can say something, but you need to know how to interpret them, and that's what you help people do with.
Absolutely.
Really cool.
And massive on the data side, making data driven decisions, very, you know, strategy heavy focus, or strategy heavy focus on how to move forward as well. But so it's been exciting, it's been really good, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. And this podcast is, you know, for me, you said you want to share parts of your journey. I'm the same. I want to share my experiences. I want to share my perspectives, my lessons up to now. I think that the two of us together, we've got a lot of value to add to people that want to learn about not just marketing and copywriting, but business as well. And maybe even life. That's why this podcast is called Life, Likes, and Landing Pages. You know, we're going to be covering all three. So
definitely.
Stay tuned. This is episode 1.
I think this is a good place to end our first episode. You know, like, if you have any questions or whatever, just put them in the comments and we'll come back to them. If you have any ideas for topics,
100%.
also, like, leave them, and we'll get back to that. Next week we are going to introduce the terms marketing and copywriting for you, because I don't know about you, Gayle, but when I say I'm a copywriter, the question I get the most is, what's copywriting? And then I'm like, I sometimes completely, like, I don't know, just writing for businesses, but that's not it.
what's
marketing? Exactly.
Marketing. You're a marketer. So you post on social media then?
Yes.
Deep healing breaths.
So next week we'll demystify those two terms.
Let's do it. I'm excited. Thanks for listening.
All right.
If you stuck with us this far, and excited to have people along this journey with us.
Definitely. All right, bye.
Bye.